You're welcome back. This is Newsfile. It's your most authoritative news analysis platform. And here on Newsfile, we put Ghana first. A couple of your messages and my guests in the studio who have been giving us the best of insights that we can have on this matter. Colonel Retired Festus Abuaji. We also have Kofi Bento, Dr. Kwesa White, Michael Kwesa White, and Kweku Bako. Reading from us for us a book that's Hansat that really need help. I don't know how he's going to maintain that. We need to find a way of keeping it. Now from Atar Imoro in Walensee, it says it's unfortunate that in this 21st century, people still consider the use of arms to settle differences. My biggest concern is also the way institutions and authorities have managed conflicts over the years. Stephen Konde in Tatale, Northern Region, says that the truth is that the cause of some of these conflicts in the north is lack of respect for some tribes. The use of derogatory words against each other. Moses Atia says, Colonel, can you help me understand why about 90% of the country's defense and security ministers always have to come from the north? Is that a fact? 90%? Probably. Okay.
I'm not too sure. I'm not
it has always
very interesting.
It has been, yes. Okay.
Across both parties, really.
So that's a good observation.
Defense ministers.
Yeah, but I just got off the phone with Dominic Nitiwo, the defense minister, and he says after mobilizing, successfully getting the leaders, opinion leaders of the areas, various groups together to go and speak with the people directly and to get audience, that has led to what he maintains is what has led to the calm that we have seen so far. He will not be on the forefront going forward, so the process will be done without him at the front any longer.
But that reflects the point some of us were making.
Okay, right. Okay, so let's get to somewhere right around here, Accra, and it's been an unpleasant development. Some people, the PDS visited them to pay their bills. Some of them had bills, ranging 30,000 plus, 20,000 plus, and these people are not, they are not homes around East Legon. So what exactly has been going on for some of them to owe so much, and what has the PDS or the electricity company been doing all this while, and suddenly be requiring of them to make these payments? In fact, the homes don't cost as much as the bills that they are being asked to pay. How is this happening? Kofi, you have a better understanding of this situation.
Right. So I belong to a group called COSECA, and we've been involved with the ECG transitioning and so many issues. But even before then, as part of our work, first point we need to make, this billing problem that led to these astronomical bills is a known issue within ECG. They know it, they understand how it happened. It had to do with some software issues that then PURC, was aware of it, and there were moves made. It is not only Krobo. There were a number of other places. So first thing, it is institutionally recognized that there is a problem with the billing, or there has been. And that's what caused some of these problems. Knowing that, therefore, I don't know the basis upon which PDS moves in. That's one. Number two, when it comes to even bill collection, there are laws gathering, regulating that. In fact, there's a lapse time. If you don't collect your bill after a certain time, it actually lapses. There are 2 LIs on that one. And then there is a process. You have
take
to
time and educate us on that one.
Because of time, but it's there. They know there's one PRC law and another LI, and that's why they stamp your bill due for disconnection. There's a certain legal process. They stamp it. They warn you after 2 months or so. If they don't come, it lapses. All those other things, So even if you wanted to go and collect your bills, there was a certain process you should use. Thirdly, here's a whole community and they went with security people, which means they anticipated some kind of, blowback. I would think that in dealing with people, if you went and you even got that kind of blowback, what stops you from just stepping back and engaging them differently? I am not holding brief for people who don't want to pay their bills, but I cannot find a single reason why you should take lethal force into a community to try and collect bills, which you should know because institutionally it is there that these bills are faulty.
What led to the shooting and the stray bullet that killed a 14-year-old is reported not to be, somehow targeted shooting and killing, and that the people were actually doing a demonstration of sort or seeking to vandalize. And so they were just seeking to calm the situation, and it was just a mistake, or as it were, was a straight bullet.
That's their side of the story.
Right.
There should be no circumstance, under no circumstance, should the collection of electricity bills lead to any kind of shooting. And I'm saying I don't hold brief for, illegality. We have all done demonstrations. If even the people attacked you, what stops you from going back and dealing with this thing properly as you deal with the community? So we are not holding brief. And indeed, if people committed crime, they should be taken on. Why this is important is that it cannot happen again. And I don't know the kind of decision making, the processing that led to the series of actions that were taken. A human being is dead and the community is traumatized. Now you hear they've waived a number of million cedis or so. On what basis? On what basis? Have you solved the problem? Are we sure that this won't happen to the other places? Look, some of these things are unnecessary.
They are denying that. They say what has happened is not a waiver, but a review.
On what basis?
They say it's a cleansing.
A cleansing.
On what basis?
I'm trying to understand what that really means.
Exactly, man. I want to understand, because what I've said, my information is that this is a known problem. So on what basis? And if you knew you had some of these issues, how do you use lethal force? Go into a community.
They need money, and they have lost as much as 86 million in that area alone. Lower Krobo alone, municipality.
This whole thing about needing money, like I said, we're part of the process. This is why we brought PDS in. And if it was going shooting people, you would have done it. All right? We also know that if you take the financial dynamic of our electricity situation, they should start asking the places and the people who owe millions and are not paying, the government systems, etc., and start dealing with that.
But the people who were sitting there for 5 years and not paying their bills, which is now accumulated and they are unable to pay, didn't they also anticipate or expect that at a certain point they will have to pay?
Yes, they should. But you've moved into another area. Look, the mess we caused with our electricity system is coming home to roost. Some of these people were promised things. Some of them got meters under ship. Some of the meters were installed by MPs. All right? There were World Bank projects, and there was a whole kind of confusion in that area. People actually felt, especially in some of the rural areas, that some of the meters and things under ship and MPs, they were not supposed to pay. And for years, some of them were not billed. They were not asked for their money. Then all of a sudden, you come. One of the people who approached me on this issue said she had one sewing machine and one bulb. And her bill came in, it was like 25,000 or so. How do you not know this is a mistake? So it's multifaceted. But my point is that, look, when you sit from the point of view of PDS, where you have the information,
is that not possible over 5 years?
No.
Okay.
Again, last week we had some meetings on this thing. I was talking to some people. If you do the analysis, you can tell how much the whole community spent. You can compare them to other places and know that this is clearly a mistake. But I'm saying there is no argument about the fact that it's a mistake, because it is institutionally known. They even know where it came from. Okay. So this should not have happened, and it's just tragic that we let it happen. We should find a way to make sure it doesn't happen again. PDS should do his job and collect this money. But this approach, no.
Okay, maybe I should have started with Dr. Michael White because of his connection to this area. What do you know the story to be? Of course, there's been a claim by the local authority, as it were, over there, suggesting that the people simply are adamant. They feel that they should use electricity without paying. The MP has come to debunk that and say it has absolutely nothing to do with what is going on now, and that nobody is saying that they are supposed to use electricity free for life.
Well, again, let me start by expressing my deepest condolence to Thomas Party. particularly his family. That's a 14-year-old boy who lost his life in this very unfortunate event. It should never happen again that the harmless exercise of collecting utility bills should lead to the loss of life. I don't believe that this 14-year-old even owes any bill. Unfortunately, his life has just been snapped out of him. And I think that is a very painful exercise, or that's a very painful experience or occurrence. But let's get the facts right. The
police seem to suggest that there would have been a gun used by civilians and the stray bullet may have come from.
I think that is I mean, excuse my language, a cock and bull story. The police should be able to arrest whoever possessed that gun if they actually are police forces or members of the police service. Let's get the background to this very right. The people of Krobo-land had never at any point in time refused to pay utility bills. In fact, we had a Akosombo Dam since when? They've always paid their bills. So why now? They have never refused to pay their bills. This is what happened. At some point in time, meters were installed for people for whatever reason. ECG, then ECG, failed to capture the meters in their database, in their billing database for several years, 2-3 years. And so the people were not being given bills. In fact, there are records that some people even complain, were worried that, look, you've installed the meters, but you have not been bringing us bills. We don't want any accumulated bills. Nothing got done about it. Then all of a sudden, 2-3 years for some of them, bills surfaced, and the amounts were just completely outrageous. 20,000, 15,000, 14,000, whatever. For small households, those amounts for those people, they have probably never even seen it in their lifetime before. But it brought the accumulated bill. Then there is a second dimension to it. Somewhere, I believe in 2017, the ECG decided to change its database, its billing system, and use a particular software. The software ended up exacerbating the situation for quite a number of people. Their bills became completely, out of control. There is a group in Krobo-land called the United Krobo Foundation, a youth group, that had taken it upon itself to collect all these complaints and make sure that they follow through the process, lodge the complaints with PURC, and ensure that the issues are dealt with amicably. So they have done that. And having done that, PURC, having looked into the issue, said that disconnections and chasing the people should come to an end so that this matter should be resolved amicably. So there seems to be some, third party step in to enforce some kind of negotiation among the parties involved. PURC making a transition to, ECG making a transition to, is it PDS, then decides to go ahead and collect its monies anyways, regardless of all the complaints and the huge amounts of people. And the people say, look, we have reported these issues, we have expressed our complaints, we have expressed our concerns, but it appears that whilst we are told that these issues are being resolved, you are compelling us on the basis of the same complaints to act. And I think it is the stubborn attitude of the PDS to go ahead regardless of the genuine and honest complaints of the people that led to them massing up to look for explanations. And I think it was in the process of that this young boy lost his life by whatever means it is.
So we can only hope and pray that the PURC intervention will lead to a good resolution. But Kwaku, what do you expect is likely to happen?
Well, look, I don't have much information on this matter, I have to confess. But there was this thing that kept coming over the years. I had complaints from various citizens of this land about a certain defect with their meters and how these things are calculated. Many people, big men, small men, different communities, some at Spintex, Airport, Laboni, So what kind of meters have we brought into the system? Different. It appears that they are not standardized, all sorts of things coming. People have been complaining. In fact, some have been asking me to make it an issue on Newsfile and anywhere else I go. The point is that I said, look, I need to understand this. This Krobo thing has brought it to the fore. We need to check. I'm not looking at just PDS or ECG. There must be something we must check. I don't have the technical understanding. Those who know and the appropriate authorities must get involved and let's check.
But what is wrong if they decided to completely debt forgive them and then sanitize the thing to start afresh?
No, the snowballing effect. Then we are all going to also ask for amnesty.
It's in the law.
Debt forgiveness.
Debt
Okay,
forgiveness.
so
Can you replicate that?
Kofi Bentol is referring us to
Is it the law?
Rule 28 of the LI 1816,
Interesting.
regulating the PURC, and that is the Electricity Supply and Distribution Technical and Operational Rules 2005. And it says what? Where a supplier fails to bill a customer for a period of 12 months, the supplier cannot recover the cost of that service unless the delay in the billing occurred, A, without negligence on the part of the supplier, or B, due to the customer's actions.
Clearly take
Very
them out.
interesting.
Yes. And disconnection also, there's a place on disconnection, an LI on ECG, where there's a process for it. You have to stamp the bill and you have to collect the money within a month or two or so. You know, I can check that and give you.
Okay.
But they clearly breached the law in this thing.
Interesting.
Okay, so it appears that's a statute of limitation there,
Yeah.
as it
Yeah.
applies to general matters of law.
That's right.
If you have a debt to collect and you sit down for 2 years, you don't go
But
chasing
in this
it,
case,
you will
PDS,
never
or
get
they
it again.
inherited the
But the time has
It's
passed.
gone. If you have
And so you should
a
let
land
them.
issue, you sit
It doesn't
down
matter who the
12
supplier
years.
is.
12 years come to go. You can't go for it, and all of those
Can
other
PDS
things. Yes.
collect ECG debt?
Yes. Kind of. How do you look at it, and the approach from the security standpoint, which led to the innocent boy, being killed?
Let me quickly add to the billing regime as explained by my colleagues. A couple of years ago, I migrated from postpaid to tire grid. Tire grid is when you have solar and you generate excess.
Feedback
Net
into-
metering.
So I had credit at the time of the migration. As we speak, where that credit is, I don't know. So without going as far as saying that there could be some element of corruption in the system, there is obviously an element of inefficiency. And these are some of the results that we all reap when there is inefficiency. Quickly on the security side, I had earlier mentioned that the episodes of insecurity, instability that we're having now are troublesome. Indeed, you might not be aware that as we speak, around Sefi Bekwai, if not the Ashanti Bekwai, but I think it's Sefi Bekwai, there's also some state of instability, and the police have had to mobilize. So all of these episodes of insecurity, instability, demanding police, military presence, and so on, is actually diverting our focus and our effort, towards the greater threat to the country. There is also the element of this so-called stray bullet. You see, we must all accept that we as a people are the sovereign. I think you've made that point over and over and over again. The police service, for that matter, any other institution, owes it as a duty to explain to us as soon as possible the circumstances under which fatalities occurred. So whether this came from the police or it came from some other armed civilian, we need to know.
Okay.
But let's assume that it came from the police. We're not too far away from Ayawaso. And we all saw Professor Henrietta grilling some senior police officers about procedures that follow
to discharge.
after the use of force and firearms. I have read somewhere that this body, Thomas Pabe's body, was left for several hours, which shouldn't have been the case. Indeed, even if the fire had not come from the police, they owed it as a duty to ensure that that body was secured and recovered as soon as possible.
Even for investigation purposes.
Well, we obviously need to do the investigation as a matter of course. So these are my concerns. And then lastly, the idea that we seem as a people to be looking at the use of force or violence, some form of militancy, as the first option towards conflict resolution is very worrisome. You know, we don't seem to be aware that there are institutions that we must go to seek redress and so on and so forth. Going forward, I think we need to learn the lesson. Indeed, there was this episode also, was it Kaswa or somewhere, where PDS went and they were chased away with cutlasses. That's and then they went and disconnected, you know. Is that how we manage our affairs, you know, as a country?
I think people are beginning to even express fear about what would happen because we know that PDS officers are also being, you know, harmed as they go after their bills and so on. And the example you gave about the Krobo-PDS one where they hacked the PDS officer. But when a community is attacked this way, are they able to go back to that community and do their work? Let's quickly speak to the public relations officer of the PDS, William Boateng, very briefly. Thank you for joining us, William.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Right. Yes, but we're seeking a bit of understanding because people did not understand you when the news came out that you had waived over 100 million, and then you later came to say it was a cleansing thing and it's not a waiver. Can you explain that to Kwekubako?
Right, thank you very much. I don't want to sound as if I want to justify whatever happened because a life is lost, you know, but I want to just clarify. Somewhere back in 2014, 2015, there was this SHEP program or SHEP project in that particular enclave. And you know, over the years, this is an open secret that electricity has always been used as a political tool. And so we do not have an idea as a company then. And so they installed a lot of these meters without capturing until about 3 years, like I heard one of your panelists said. Now, 2017, we made an effort to collect the money after we captured. And then there was this afro, so we had to withdraw. You know, you heard of a demonstration where they even touched one of the vehicles of the police, they destroyed our building and so on and so forth. So we started, they told us about what we should do before we come. Of course, we know that, so they said we should start an education and explain to them why during those times so we didn't capture, what can we do to help them. We did all the education. You can check from the NENE and the MPs. We did over 6 months, 8 months. They gave us a lot of conditions before we can move in to collect our money. We did all that. Then come after 2017 years, I heard someone mention of our new software to capture years, also give us some challenges. It was during that time that we did what we made mention of the cleansing, but that is what we call the reconciliation. We did that reconciliation because it was estimated bills. Now we had the opportunity to read, and so we got the actual for them. That's what reduced the entire bill from as high as 194 million to 84. So what we mentioned was a meeting with them where we were drawing the attention to an earlier program that we did with them or earlier agreement.
Okay.
That saw the reduction of the entire bill to that amount. And so there's no problem again. So the issue of, it's an overbill, and we thought that we've done our part. And we are dealing with individuals now. We are not dealing with a group. In fact, during that time, just after the 2017, that a group sprang up. I think the name is Krobo Youth Foundation. They said that they have a letter to the effect that, or a certain signed document to the effect that they shouldn't pay electricity bill because of the construction of the dam. It is on record. It's not as if we just came out with that type of an excuse or something just to attack them or get the bill paid. They brought us a letter. We sat with them. We explained that we are a company. We cannot go by whatever they know, whether historically or they have any document. Then we did.
But Mr. Boateng, how is that forgivable? That it takes you 3 good years to connect people who have connected without, connecting to your main source or whatever it is. I don't know. Your billing system. 3 years.
Yes, we are all wiser after the fact or the event. I told you that over the years, this is no news in Ghana here. When we made mention of what you call the political meeting, during election.
You decide to call them political meters. Why should they be paying for your negligence, for your failures?
It's not our negligence, but which is not installed. In fact, the law that one of your panelists quoted said that when it is not our fault. Well, it is not our fault.
Really?
So we captured it because we are supposed to pay for that amount.
It's not your fault. It's not your fault that you knew about the situation and watched on for 3 years. And after that, you said you connected, and after you connected them to your billing, there was a problem with your database.
Connected to the national grid.
Right.
So this happened years back. We did not have an idea. Now, when we are informed, we have to go around and capture. It takes time.
I see.
From village to village.
Okay. So now, what's the solution?
We are thinking that we start with them, led by the honorable minister, honorable MP. Of the area, Lower Menya Krobo, we are still on the roadmap and want to stick to that. It's unfortunate we asked for security presence in order to collect our revenue because we were being threatened not to come. It started 2017, and we thought that we have done our best. In fact, it's an individual relationship with the customer. We believe that if you have a challenge, one-on-one, come to us at our office. Our doors are open. We check through the system, and then we see what we can do about it. So we've had an agreement with them. We go by it. We are hoping that going forward they'll give us the room to capture real bills and go to their houses, capture.
But you see the people and you see their socioeconomic circumstances. Are these bills that you say even have revised? Are they realistic for the people? Bills that cost more than their buildings.
When you don't pay for about 2-3 years, in fact, 2017.
Okay.
Assuming we are taking, assuming we are taking 2017, you have not paid for 2 years. In a month, you consume 100 units or 100 Ghana. Let's take 100 Ghana. And some of them uses fridge, freezers and things. So let's assume 100 Ghana. In 2 years, 24 months, that's 2,400. So I agree, you come and talk to us. We'll go and look at it. We can take the actual. Then we can decide to spread.
All right. Thank you. Thank you very much, William Boateng. But I can clearly see that even if you spread the 20,000 for them, they can't pay. They simply can't pay. And you may want to look for a different solution for that. We're taking our final break at this point, and we return to look at the banking matters and the finance industry that is suffering a hemorrhage. Is the solutions that government is taking the best to forestall what we see in that sector? I want to say thank you very much to Colonel Festus Abuaje. He will not join us in the next segment. Don't forget about his books, Indigenous African Warfare, its concept and art in the Gold Coast, Asante, and the Northern Territories up to early 1900s. ECOMOG, a sub-regional experience in conflict resolution, management, and peacekeeping in Liberia, 2nd edition. And of course, the one that Abdul Malik Kubako introduced to all of us. We'll be right back.